Hello and welcome to Studio 4's Hit the Puck. I'm your host and founder, Tali alongside our Eastern Conference news reporter, Chris Cannon. Hello, Chris.
Hello.
Today we're going to start the Eastern Conference. We'll have the news a little bit later on the show, but first we're going to start with the Eastern Conference. Before I get to that, we're going to start the Eastern Conference with Chris Cannon, as I said before, and then we're going to get to the news. We have two trophy nominations, the Frank Fleck and the Lady Byng Trophy nominations. But first we're going to start with the Eastern Conference. You have two games to tell us about. Game 4s?
Game 3 and
Game
4.
3, alright?
Okay. First one was New Jersey at Philly. Philly ended up winning that 4-1, which is, I consider, domination over a higher seed team. New Jersey should have won that. New Jersey's just a better team, like I always say. New Jersey's got to win, they're the higher seed. And all throughout the season, lower seeds have been dominating. Shots were 31-28. Carter got 2 goals. Boucher had 9.68 save percentage, which I consider really good for his team. They really need that kind of defensive backup. Breer had 1 goal and 2 assists, which put him, I think, first star. And like I said before, Flyers had domination over the higher team, and I consider that a big victory. If only Montreal could do that. In the last game, Pittsburgh at Ottawa, Pittsburgh won that 7-4 to take 3-1 series lead. Pittsburgh was a bit higher seeded, only 1 though. But like I thought Ottawa would have a bigger lead because all the lower seeds are dominating. Well, not dominating, but you know, winning. Let's see. Shots were 42-30 Pittsburgh, which I consider, yeah, I mean, that's probably why they won. I always think that the higher shot should win. Gonchar had 3 assists, which gave him the second star of the game. Alfredson got 2 points, which is pretty good considering he's pretty old. He just played his 1000th game a while ago. Spezza also got 2 points, 1 goal and 1 assist, just like Alfredson. Pittsburgh now, like I mentioned before, has a 3-1 series lead, and Ottawa's really got to play hard the next game. They've got to go out there and get a fast one, just dominate the whole game, or else they're gonna be golfing. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Now back to Tally.
Thank you, Chris. Back here in Studio 4, we have some Western Conference news to get to, as well as 2 Eastern Conference games. But first, let's start with the NHL news. The 3 nominees to the Frank Fleck Trophy, is Ryan Kesler from the Vancouver Canucks, Pavel Datsyuk from the Detroit Red Wings, and Jordan Staal from the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Lady Byng Trophy, also Pavel Datsyuk for the Detroit Red Wings, Brad Richards from the Dallas Stars, and Martin St. Louis from the Tampa Bay Lightning. On to some Western Conference news. Game 2 of this series. As we all know, it was not a, decisive game towards that because of the whole incident between the disallowed goal and everything, but Kings did win that game 5-3 over LA, and our other show, we have 10 verses which talk about that, but that's another story. The star game was Drew Doughty with 1 goal, 3 assists, a +1 at the end of the night, a total of, he was the second star of that game. Off to Game 3 of the Nashville Predators and Chicago Blackhawks game. Yet again, the Chicago Blackhawks are not prevailing like they should be. They lost that game 4-1 against Nashville in the National League Series 2-1. Their next game is tomorrow. At the start of the game, David Legwood with 1 goal, 2 assists, a +3, and the first star of the game. The interesting series, which I really think is interesting, the Colorado Avalanche taking on the San Jose Sharks. That series now tied with 2-2. Sharks won that game 2-1. Game 4 they won. So the game with Joe Pavelski with 1 goal, the game winner, 1 assist, and the first star of the game. Phoenix Coyotes taking on the Detroit Red Wings. Series tied up 2-2 now. Detroit did win that game 3-0. Obviously, start of the game was Jimmy Howard stopping 29 shots, a 1.0 save percentage, and he ended up being the first star of the game. Heading off to the Eastern Conference news right now, Washington leads the series 3-1 now, and their game ended 6-3. The star of the game, some say Simo Varlamov, I say Alexander Ovechkin. He had 2 goals, 1 assist, a +3. Although his second star, Simo Varlamov, was the first. A game that is currently in, we're just going to show you here something. A game that is currently in overtime right now. It's the end of the first overtime, as you guys see. It's still knotted up at 2-2 apiece for this team. If you want to look down the stats right now, ladies and gentlemen. If you were going to say who the star was right now so far, I would say probably Bergeron with 1 goal, 1 assist, and a +1 so far. Heading into the second overtime, I don't know what you would say about the whole scenario about that, but getting back to the thing, so far Boston does lead that series 2-1. We'll have the update a little bit later on in the show, what happens during that game. But for now, I'm Tali Campbell covering your Western Conference news, a little bit of the Eastern Conference news, and your news from the National Hockey League. Hope you all have a good day. See ya.